What's going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball. We got baseball news to talk about. Let's do it. What's going on? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Normal Baseball Podcast. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And we got some baseball news going on today. Not too much, nothing life-changing. Nothing crazy today.
Nothing crazy. However, at the time that you guys are watching this, February 1st, watching, listening, whatever, just know that this month you will see baseball being played. You will see Major League Baseball getting played. So, we're almost there. Home stretch, guys. Home stretch. Let's jump right into it.
Yep, let's do it. And now we're going to jump right into the stuff that's happened recently, meaning in the last 5 days, 4 days, 5 days. Because a decent bit has happened. It's more of just the kind of less exciting stuff. Nothing crazy, just some couple extensions that we'll talk about. A trade. We got a couple signings in there. Then we got a couple fun topics. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. I think we should start with what I think is the biggest kind of extension signings / trade. Jeff McNeil has been extended by the New York Mets for 4 years, $50 million with a fifth-year team option for $13.5 million. The NL batting champ is staying in New York.
Yeah. If I have to just comment about it, I definitely think that it's a good thing that Jeff McNeil is staying in New York, staying with the Mets and everything. I think they bought out. Technically, this is his last year of arbitration, I think, or he's closing in on being done with arbitration years. So they bought out just a little bit of his free agency, which is a good move. However, the Mets, I would say, shot themselves in the foot because they gave $50 million to Jeff McNeil. So what does that mean for the market of Pete Alonso, who is very clearly the better player than Jeff McNeil? And if you're going to give $50 million to a player like Jeff McNeil, how much money should Pete Alonso command? But I would say it's a problem. You have to remember that, their owner is Steve Cohen.
Yeah, 4 years, $50 million. I actually thought that was a kind of a steal for the Mets.
I think it was a little bit more.
Did you not feel that way?
I thought it was a little bit more than what I thought he would get, especially being that he wasn't in the free agent market yet. Definitely think that it was a little bit more than what I could have seen the Mets giving him.
Oh, 4 years, $50 million. That's what, 12 and a half a year or 12 and a quarter a year? For a guy like Jeff McNeil, I thought
that was a little bit too much. That's what I'm saying.
The guy just won a batting title.
Mm-hmm.
He batted .326 last season. He's probably going to continue to have a very high batting average, and his defense is not bad. So I think it's kind of a steal.
No, I'm not discounting his ability on the field or anything, but I just I don't know. I feel like you could have went a different direction if you wanted to spend $50 million. Why not just buy out the last 2 years of his arbitration and then see where he is from there? Because now you're giving him the money when his time is highest. You could have waited.
But the issue is, I think they'd rather lock him up because I think they're confident he will stay consistently good.
Which is never a bad thing. I like that.
Like you said, they did buy out 2 years of his arbitration, which I agree they could have just done that. But it's Steve Cohen. He's going to spend money. And you know what? I bet if Steve Cohen doesn't think he has a good contract anymore, or he's not worth playing for them still in 2 years,
he'll buy it out.
He'll trade him. He'll trade him. Yeah. He'll trade him. He'll buy it out. He'll DFA him. Steve Cohen has a lot of money. He doesn't really care.
He has a lot of money, and he wants to win, which is
exactly
the most interesting part about it. All right,
exactly.
But
so
congratulations to Jeff McNeil. Right? Can we say that?
I think he could have made more money.
Who, Jeff McNeil?
Yeah, I think he could have made more money.
I think he would have made more money had he hit the free agent market. I just
Right.
don't think.
That's part of what I'm saying. I think he could have made more money. So I don't know. I don't know. Not betting on himself. I like when players bet on themselves. He did the exact opposite
Well, I
and
believe
he
he's.
took the
I think
guaranteed
it's
money.
only 2 years of his free agency. Is
It's
the free?
three.
It's
It's
3 years.
potentially well three if they pick up the team option.
Okay, so I mean, at that point, what he'll be 31, I think. I don't have anything pulled up because I got the recording stuff.
31.
I think
No,
he's
he's 30
27.
right. He's no, he's 30 right now. He's almost 31.
Oh my god, he does
Right.
not look that old.
That's
Never
why they
mind.
figure pay him. Pay him. By the time
Okay, yeah,
he's
never
35, he's
mind.
still good.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I go back on everything that I just said. I thought that he was like 5 years younger than 3 years younger, 4 years younger than he actually was. My apologies.
Yeah, which is why he probably took this contract. I mean, he's
Yeah,
already 30. He just wants money guaranteed just in case, God forbid, which he doesn't have that much time because if he does do bad, he's not going to have time to correct himself. So, you know
yeah.
what? I mean, I guess I really can't blame Jeff McNeil for taking this contract.
Neither can I.
And I can't, and Steve Cohen did what he needed to do. He put him in a position to where it's not too much money. So, like, they can afford if he doesn't pan out, which I think he'll be fine. They also have the 5th year option, so if they really want to get rid of him. Um, but yeah, no, I like it. I think Steve Cohen did a good job, and I think McNeil, I like I said, I like when players bet on themselves, but I guess when you're this old, it's kind of better to not bet on yourself.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, he's the same age as Aaron Judge, and Judge just bet on himself and won big. But good for Jeff
That's
McNeil.
true.
Good for the Mets. I think it's just a match made in heaven. So just clap it up a little bit for Jeff McNeil. Jeff McHits. My apologies.
Jeff McHitz. Back to the Mets. That Mets lineup is looking very good. I feel like every time we mention the Mets, we do need just to, remind everyone of what their lineup's looking like for
It's really good.
2022. Yes, for short, really good. Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Daniel Vogelback, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, Omar Narvaez.
Mark Hanna.
And on the yeah,
He's on the
yeah.
Orioles.
No, no, he is not.
Mark Hanna. Mark Hanna. Oh, I'm thinking of McCann. My apologies again. Holy shit.
James McCann is on the Orioles.
Yeah. Sorry.
That was scary. Um, but yeah, no, their lineup is amazing. And then of course on the bench they have the man, the myth, the legend, Darren Ruff, the best player in New York sports history.
Yeah,
Um,
easily.
he's the one that makes this Mets lineup look a lot scarier than it like
I mean,
than you would think.
when you have a perennial like MVP guy can go out there and break Barry Bonds' home run record sitting on your bench, you know that you have a good team.
Exactly. That's why I said Darren Ruff adds fear factor to this team. Like you take away Darren Ruff from this team, they don't have the same fear factor as they do with Darren Ruff. With Darren Ruff, World Series contender. Without, not.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I
that's why Darren Ruff is the best player in MLB history. So
completely agree with you.
yeah, I mean that's great news that you agree with me. Darren Ruff, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Anyways,
All right, moving on. We're gonna move to the AL East now. Um, to the Tampa Bay Rays down in Tampa Bay, sunny Tampa. Two extensions for the Rays last week,
who
this
would have
weekend.
thunk?
First one, Pete Fairbanks, a reliever, Peter Fairbanks, Pringle Fairbanks, as some like to call him. Um, Extension, 3 years, 12 million with a 4th year team option. Um, what do you think?
Uh-oh. Oh, okay. You lagged there for a second. What do I think
Oh,
about the Fairbanks extension?
yeah,
Solid. I mean,
it's
the Rays spending. I mean, they also made another move, but we'll talk about that after. Um, Rays spending money, just a foreign concept in my mind. So it's nice to see because most of the guys who play for the Rays deserve to get paid. They're very good ball players, and Pete Fairbanks getting paid. What's crazy is that it's such a good contract if the Rays do want to move on from him and let's just say want to call up a young guy or they think that he's not going to be doing too well. come the second year of his contract or whatever, they can move him because it's only $12 million. So good for the Rays. Good for the Rays. Good
I
for
agree.
Pete Fairbanks as well.
I agree. Really good for the Rays. And like you said, really good for Pete Fairbanks. You got him for 3 more years. Obviously, the Rays bullpen has looked very sharp in the last few years. Fairbanks only played 24 games last season, but a 1.13 ERA, in 24 innings pitched. So he's a very good pitcher. I think the Rays made a good choice. I'm curious. Is he coming off an injury? Is my question
I have no
because
idea to tell you the truth.
I'll be honest, I don't remember what his injury was last year. He must have had an injury. Pete Fairbanks. Yeah, I don't know. He must have been coming off an injury if he didn't play that much last season, or there was an injury before the season. I'm not sure. But yeah, no, good on both sides. I
Well,
think he's making his money. He's a little
he played
on the
in 24
older
games
side.
last year and only threw 24 innings. So I don't
What
know.
does that tell you about it? What does that tell you about what his injury is?
Well, you just said, was he injured?
Right, but he didn't play. If he wasn't, I'm telling you, if he wasn't injured, he wouldn't have played in just 24 games last season. So he
Right.
must have been injured. Huh?
Yeah, but he as a reliever, yes, that's definitely low. So it had to be something, or maybe he just wasn't utilized as well as he should have been or could have been.
No, that is no, definitely not.
Oh
I
crap!
can guarantee you. I can guarantee you that's not the case.
Let it be known,
You know,
everyone.
you know.
Everyone just saw B Seinfeld for a second there. My apologies.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah. So that's Pete Fairbanks. Good for the Rays, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, really good reliever they're getting right there, getting him back for a while, and he's only 29, so he's still got years left in the tank.
definitely.
Next up, the other guy the Rays extended is a corner infielder named Yandy Diaz, who they extended for 3 years, 24 million, with a year for a fourth option, or an option for a fourth year, not a year for a fourth option, an option for a fourth year. Um, Diaz has been part of this team since 2019. He's played 384 games for the team. Bats 227. Last season he batted 296 in 137 games. I think he's a really underrated bat, and I think this is a really good move for the Rays.
Oh yeah, definitely another good move. Yandy Diaz has been solid. Definitely a guy that I think pairs well on that left side of the infield with Wander Franco. Just for the short term, obviously, it's only 4 years. Franco's contract is like 8 or 9 years, I believe, left on it because he signed it last year, or maybe it has 10 years left on it. But
It
whatever.
has a lot of years left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yandy, I think is a good pairing. His bat is solid, especially, and it plays really well in the trop, which I never thought I would say. A hitter's swing plays well in the trop, but a good move. A good move. Again, the Rays spending money makes me scratch my head a little bit. Makes me wonder what's going on there, but good for them.
Yeah, very good for them. Like I said, in all, two players that um very, I'd say, underrated and like not fully on the radar.
Yeah,
Fun fact: Yandy Diaz got MVP votes this season.
yeah. And you know
Yandy
what's
Diaz,
funny?
Yandy Diaz came 20th in MVP voting. The man had 57 RBIs, 9 home runs, but 33 doubles, and he batted 296. Yeah, underrated Yandy Diaz.
And
I'll go in and say it.
the best part about it is that he flies so well under the radar that none of these big caliber teams like pick up on it to the point where they're like, "Oh, let me trade for him." Because I think that if you told the Mets, there's a guy who can you can trade for by just using a few prospects that can play third base for you and hit close to 300, Mets fans would be salivating at the mouth, you know? But obviously,
The
Yandy Diaz is now
the
locked
Rays
up.
obvious the Rays obviously aren't don't want to trade this guy because they extended him.
I don't know. I feel like with the Rays, if you dangle any prospect in front of them,
Well,
oh, come
no,
get him. Here's
I
your new
take that. No,
project.
I disagree. I think it's the other way around. The Rays have to pick the prospects. You can't just be like, here, take this prospect. I'm sure you can make him good. No, they're looking and they're saying, what prospects can we take from you that we can make good?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
they're just not
yeah.
taking
I
handouts.
said it backwards. I said it
Yeah, no,
backwards.
they're picking what they want, and they're picking methodically.
Yep.
That is one thing they are very good at.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, Yandy Diaz, Pete Fairbanks getting the bag
Good,
as they should. Good for
good
them.
signings.
Next up, we we have a trade. We have a trade to talk about.
We do.
Um, Richard Blyer, our guy, fan of the pod. That's not true at all. But we do love Richard Blyer. Traded to the Red Sox from the Marlins in exchange for Matt Barnes. So Matt Barnes is going to the Marlins. Richard Blyer going to the Red Sox. Um, Reliever for reliever trade.
Yeah, one for one too.
Kind of kind of random. Came out of nowhere. Um, I think it's a fine trade, I guess. Blyer was pretty good last season. Matt Barnes wasn't. He was injured for Matt Barnes. Uh, Matt Barnes was no, he wasn't injured last season. He played 44 games last season, um, but only 39 and two-thirds innings pitched. He was their closer, I guess, for like part of the season.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's a decent move for the Marlins.
You know,
Um,
I actually saw this today, and I don't know how true it is, but I would like to mention it that Matt Barnes' ERA from the 2022 season is extremely overinflated because of the game where the Blue Jays played the Red Sox in Fenway, and the Red Sox wound up losing that game like 28-5, I think, or something. Matt Barnes was responsible for a lot of those runs. And if you take that out of the equation when it comes to his ERA, which is not the best stat, obviously, to look at for pitchers nowadays, especially relievers, but it lowers it significantly. I don't know the exact number, but it makes it look like a lot more. It makes it look like a lot better pitcher when you take away just that one bad outing.
I think ERA for relievers is completely useless, and I think it should just not even be looked at all. I think to me it's similar to wins with starting pitchers. There
Yeah,
are
but
so
it's
many like diff. I get that it is as opposed to the wins with pitchers. He's not relying on anyone else to get that stat. It's him. But like you said, one bad outing and that ERA
ERA just
goes just through the
skyrockets.
roof.
Yeah,
Right, the ERA goes through the roof, and it makes you look like worse of a pitcher than you actually are. Like say Ryan Helsley, say Ryan say Ryan Helsley gave up like 7 runs and just blew up one day. 7 runs in a third of an inning. His ERA is going through the roof, but we still know he's one of the best closers in baseball, best relievers in baseball.
yeah,
We
yeah.
still know he's one of
Just
the best relievers in baseball.
I'm only saying it because it just does put into perspective that like the numbers don't just tell the whole story of who Matt Barnes was last year. I think it's a very like parallel move in my opinion. I don't think that Richard Blyer is too much of an upgrade from Matt Barnes, but I do think it's an upgrade. And it's weird to say, but I think the Red Sox actually, since Heinblum got ripped apart for not extending Devers and not going after certain guys who they knew that they needed, he put together a pretty solid offseason. Sure,
Yeah,
some
really,
things we
really
don't
good.
know how they're going to look just yet, but on paper, I think the team looks a lot better than we anticipated.
I think the Red Sox could win a bit more games than people might think they will. You look at who they brought in, Masataka Yoshida from Japan. He could pan out to be really good. Justin Turner, he's been a guy in the league for a
Solid,
long time, and we know he's still got years left in him. Um,
for sure.
Adam Duvall, who hits for power, low average but power. It's kind of like a power. It's just it's a power bat in the lineup that is going to be really useful.
Yeah,
Um, they picked up Alberto Mondesi, who, when he's healthy, can be good. He's had a couple down years in a row, so it's kind of a flyer, but he could pan out to be pretty good. They pick up Jorge Alfaro, who could be one of the most underrated like catchers in the league. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but he is like he's a good catcher. He should have
He's an
not been
electric
designated.
factory.
He's electric and he's good all around. He's good defense. They
He,
got
he
Corey
can he can
Kluber,
swing it
who
when he needs to.
he can. They got Corey Kluber, um, who still just a guy in the rotation who
He
is not like bottom of the barrel, I wouldn't say.
Corey Kluber is a pitcher in Major League Baseball. Yes,
I would say he's not bottom of the barrel in the league.
I would not say it either.
You would say
However, it's
would
not
you
like
say
he's
would you say Corey Kluber is bottom 10% of pitchers in the league?
10%. That's a bigger number than you think.
I'm asking you.
I I might be able to. I don't know. I
That
feel like
that was not an answer to my
I
question.
feel like with his age, like his
It's
stuff
a
just
yes or no
isn't there.
question.
You know what? Sure. Yes.
It's a yes or no. I said, do you think Corey Kluber is a bottom 10% pitcher in the league? And you said, I think I might be able to.
Yes. I think he might be.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree, but on the surface, Kenley Jansen, one of the best relievers in baseball. It's literally as simple as that.
Yep.
Chris Martin, good reliever. Joely Rodriguez, good reliever. Richard Blyer, good reliever. So yeah, I agree. The Red Sox have put together a pretty good offseason this year,
Yeah.
considering losing Xander
Nathan Evaldi
and JD.
and JD.
Yeah, they lost a lot of guys, but they brought in a lot of good guys as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
not necessarily the same star power, but good guys.
I think it's safe to say that there is no team in the AL East that had a really bad offseason.
Yeah, no,
Yankees did fine. We know that. I mean, they get their guy back and get Rodon. You know, uh, Red Sox make all these moves that kind of look weird, but somehow it's all pieced together quite well. Blue Jays bolstered up their bullpen a little bit. Sure, they traded away Teoscar, but they're still. I think they're still able to contend. Orioles, they're the Orioles. You know, they didn't do too much. They didn't do anything for the most part, which is good because their team works. And the Rays just signed some of their core guys.
yeah, no, I would agree. I think it was a very good offseason for the AL East in total.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty
Um,
cool. You don't see that too often.
yep. So moving on, we're gonna talk about a guy who refuses to retire. A guy who I'm not saying he should retire, but a guy who doesn't retire.
Okay.
One of the most charismatic pitchers in baseball. Zack Greinke heading back to the Royals on a 1 year deal.
Charismatic.
Um, I feel like is he not one of the most charismatic people in baseball? He doesn't need to talk a lot to be very charismatic.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Zach Greinke. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'll agree with you there.
I mean, sitting crisscross applesauce on the mound, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's an
Uh,
interesting fella.
he's one of the most interesting pitchers in baseball. We can definitely say that. So he's coming back for his 20th year in Major League Baseball.
20-year mark. Who would have thunk? That's pretty cool. And of course, that is with the Kansas City Royals. I don't know if we mentioned that or not. Just signed a he
I
signed like a
believe
1 year
I
deal.
believe I did.
Yeah, but like Alex
He signed
mentioned,
a 1 year deal.
just refuses to retire.
He does, but I mean, he wasn't terrible last season. 3.68 ERA. I mean, that's close to what Garrett Cole's ERA was.
Hmm.
So I'd argue Greinke still got years in the tank.
Oh my
What is he like? 15?
god, 15.
He's only 20.
What's his actual
He's
age?
30. He's 39.
Dude,
But is that as old as you thought? Is that as old as you
yes,
thought?
that's old for a pitcher who's been going for 20 years. That's old. I mean, hats off to him. Like, that's really cool. And congratulations, Corey Kluber. Congratulations, to Zach Greinke and like his family and all that. Because it's like it's amazing to say that someone pitched in the big leagues for 20 years. What are you giving me the hands for?
Randy Johnson pitched 22 years in MLB and retired when he was 46. So, listen, Greinke, I think he's got 6 more years left in the tank.
Oh my God, he said it. What are we doing
25
here?
a 25-year career. Let's see it. Come on,
Just
Greinke. Play as
signing
many
one
seasons as you possibly can.
years with the Royals over
Play as
and
many seasons
over.
as you can. Play as many seasons. I want to see Greinke 25-year career. That's Hall of Fame right there. I don't care what his ERA for the last few years is. That's Hall of Fame right there. Just playing 25 years in Major League Baseball, that much travel, Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And yes, he was. Oh God, he was on a terrible team last year, but
Next up,
he
what's the
didn't do
next
too
thing?
bad. All right, fine. Next one, nothing major. Josh Harrison to the Phillies, 1 year, $2 million, going to the NL champs. Not much to say. He's gonna be a bench piece.
Yeah, good utility, like plug and play if anybody needs a day
A
off.
very good bench piece, I will say. He was with the White Sox last year. He wasn't terrible, so I think it's good for the Phillies. Good job.
Yeah, I agree with
Now
you.
we now no, the floor is yours. Come on.
I think that it just shows the Phillies kind of understanding how baseball nowadays works. They have all these guys who are so physically in shape and who give it 110% every single day on the field. So it's good to get a guy like Josh Harrison who, if Alec Boehm does need a day off, if Trey Turner does need a DH day or Kyle Schwarber needs a DH day, like you just have somebody who you can plug in to play their defensive position. I think that's just a great move from the Phillies.
Me too. I would agree. All right. Well, do we want to move to the fun stuff?
Oh, of course.
Now that we're past the signings and the extensions and the trade, we're getting to some of the fun stuff. First, I want to do a follow up on last week when we talked about Ronald Acuna Jr. doing a bat flip and celebrating his entire way around the bases after hitting a home run in the fourth inning of a game. It was a championship game, but his team actually wound up losing that series.
Oh,
Um, as just last night, or I guess 2 nights ago, as you're watching this, Harold Castro hit a walk-off home run for the team that was playing against Acuna's team to win the Venezuelan Baseball League Championship. I don't exactly know what it's called, but that's what it was. And of course, he celebrated his entire way around the bases. I love it. It's like the ultimate revenge.
I think it should be a rule in whatever baseball league that is that you have to celebrate going around the bases because it just looks like so much fun, and I think that that adds to like competition. Like when I watched it, it felt like all of his emotion from seeing other people celebrate for hitting home runs off of his team, and like scoring runs and blah 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 blah. Like all of the emotion of like screw you guys, we won it in the end just came out and it looked so cool.
Oh yeah, no, it was just. I agree. It was just so fun to watch. There was so much emotion, and we know that when these guys are playing for their home country in their home countries, their energy levels are like, dare I say, better than when they're playing in MLB. So
Oh yeah,
I love
for
it.
sure.
Good for Harold Castro. Good for Harold Castro. That was just a little follow up, and I think that is the appropriate time to celebrate your entire way around the bases.
I think every time is appropriate to do it.
I guess, but no, I'm not getting into the conversation again. I don't think every time is appropriate, but anyway,
Fair enough.
um, moving on. The Colorado Rockies owner, Dick Montfort, I believe his name is, and that's a pretty funny name. Um, he had a quote earlier this week that a lot of people found very interesting, me being one of them.
Me too.
He said that he thinks the Rockies could play 500 baseball or play 500 ball this season.
Is he
Um,
wrong?
Obviously, he's just saying, being, I guess, optimistic. I guess a lot of people, think that the Rockies aren't going to be winning that many games this season. He's telling them, I think we could play 500. I think we could win 82 games, is basically what he's saying. Um, my question is this being outrageous or transparent?
So I think that it's a double-sided coin, or it's a double-edged sword. Like it is transparent in the sense that like you're the owner of this team. You have to believe in them. You have to trust them. You have to root for them. And saying that, I think that we can play 500 ball after the 2022 that they're coming off of. I think it's good to say. Like it would definitely be like, hey guys, like the guy who signs our checks, he believes in us. Like this guy's a fan. This guy is an owner. This guy wants us to succeed. And it starts somewhere. And it starts just getting better than last year. But if you're confident in your team, especially as the owner, why not say we're going to go out there, give it our all, and like try to win a World Series? Like, why not just like go all in? That's my two sides of it.
No, that I agree. I agree. But I think what you're right about the transparent part. Um, I don't know if I agree with the just go all in. Like it's not as easy as like just paying for every free agent out there.
No,
I
I'm
know
saying
there's
verbally, just
all
like commit to the team more. Like say like I think that this team can win a World Series. Like don't just limit them to being oh yeah they can play 500 baseball. Like if I
but
were an owner of a team, why would you not want to be behind your guys? Why would you not want to help like be with them?
I also think if he were to have said this team can win the World Series or this team is a World Series contender, like something along those lines, it also gets to a point where like maybe the fans will be like, all right, if you think this is a World Series team, we're in some trouble because that means you're not going to be making improvements. Like if you think this is the perfect ball club that's going to win a World Series, we're screwed. You know?
Well, Rockies fans were already pretty pissed that he said that this team can be a 500 team, because when you step back and look
I
at the
wouldn't be
team,
pissed at that.
but when you step back and look at the team, it's very
Okay, he's sneezing. Jesus. Um, I think saying 500 is not as bad as it sounds. I mean, the White Sox were 500 this year, and if you're sitting there thinking, "Hey, this team can go 500," I think that quite clearly means that if you think the team can go 500 based on just skill, that probably means that they can run into a few more wins, which if you have 87 wins, which is five more than over 500, you can you can run into a playoffs a wild card spot. So like I actually don't think it was that bad of a quote.
oh
Like
no,
I think a lot of people are like recency bias from like things like football where like 8-8, or I guess there is no exactly 500 anymore because 17 weeks, but like 8-8 or 8-9 or 9-8, like that isn't like amazing, you know?
yeah, that definitely doesn't secure a playoff spot in other sports. However, like you just said, you can run into a few extra wins there, and you're looking at maybe becoming the Philadelphia Phillies of 2022, where you sneak into the playoffs, you have under 90 wins or at 90 wins, and you kind of catch fire at the right time. So
It,
I like it. I think that every owner should be coming out and saying like this team is good. This team can go 500. This team can win a World Series. This team can contend. This team will be in it. Like this team will give it its all. Like why doesn't every owner do this? Because I think it would humanize the aspect of ownership in Major League Baseball, because everybody looks at Steve Cohen, who's this massive fan of the Mets, and that's why he bought them and he wants to win. People look at O'Neill Cruz, and just say that's O'Neill Cruz. People look at like the Hal Steinbrenners and say like this guy, he's doing what he wants to do because he wants the team to win. Or are you done toying with O'Neill Cruz yet?
no, you're good. Go on. Don't
Or
mind
you
me.
could be talking about the Dodgers ownership group, who just spends all the money in the world because they know that they want to win. Like everyone just looks at them as entities to pay the players, but I think saying something like that just makes it look like it's more humanizing. Like this guy, he wants to win. He wants to be a fan too, and I like that. I liked it a lot.
I would agree with most of those points. There are a couple that I like. I don't know. I think it's hard for any owners to even make any comments like that unless like you're like unless you're like a World Series contender, like an obvious World Series contender. It's hard for owners to say stuff like that because like if you're coming out if the Pirates owner comes out here and says, "Hey, we're gonna win 95 games this like we could win 95 games." fans are going to be are you out of your mind?
Hey,
You know?
every team on March 30th starts 0-0.
I
And
understand that. The
every
Pirates are not. Do you want to bet money that the Pirates would win 95 games?
Can I speak?
Listen.
Every team will start the season 0-0. After that, after the opening day, you know, every game, including opening day, every game starts as a 0-0 ball game where anything can happen. I think that every owner should be saying our team can win 100 games. You know, why can they not? Why? Okay, who cares if the other team is better? We've seen upsets a million times in every sport, in baseball especially. You see it all the time. What's stopping any
I
team from going out there and winning
No,
100
I
games?
don't. I don't. I think it would. I think at that point, it's just outrageous for every owner to come out and say, "Hey, we're going to win 100 games." Could you imagine if the Reds owner last season was like, "Every game starts 0-0. We're going to win 100 games." Then can you only imagine all of the fans who would be like, "Yeah, that's great," until fucking Nick Lodolo gives them 7 runs in the first. Like it's not like you have to. I get being positive and having a good attitude, but like you also have to be realistic. It's your ball club. It's not like something that you could just like be like it's not delusional. You can't be delusional or anything. You have to kind of be real with it. I think in the first place, owners shouldn't really be talking about this stuff anyway, unless you are like one of the big teams that like, hey, we actually have like a shot this season. I think it's better to not say anything. You're not just going to be like, hey, yeah, guys, every game starts 0-0. I think the Pirates can win 110 games this season.
I
We'll
like it.
run into them. We'll run into them. We'll run into them. They
Yeah, we'll
might be better than us.
we'll sweep the
They might be
Dodgers.
they might be better than us, but we can run into them. Like I don't know. I just don't like it. I think I think you got.
I
There's
don't
a
know.
difference between there's a difference between being positive and being
Delusional.
like real. Like
I don't know.
like
I like the idea of just owners getting behind their ball clubs, especially this early. I think that it's the right outlook to show your fans that like you want to believe in this ball club. You do believe in this ball club, so why should they not? You know? And sure, every
right, but
team should go in with World Series aspirations, but only one team hoists the trophy. It's not like you're shooting
no,
yourself
but
in the foot.
that's different. You can't tell me it's not like say last season, going into last season. You can't tell me it's not different if Bob Nutting, the Pirates owner, you can't tell me it would be different if Bob Nutting was like, "Hey, we're going to win the World Series this year, Pirates fans. Let's do it." And you can't tell me that would be different than if Brian Cashman came in and was like, "Hey, Yankee fans, we're going to win the World Series this year. Let's do it." Like and then looking at the end of the season, like I mean, yes, you're right. Only one team hoisted the trophy. It wasn't neither the Pirates nor the Yankees, but I would say Brian Cash or not Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner. Hal Steinbrenner would have had a lot better of like a realistic kind of we're going to win the World Series this year type of thing. Like I mean I understand what you're saying with like you should be rooting for your team. You own this team. You should be getting your fans into it and make them want to watch the team. But like I don't think you could be delusional like that.
My counterpoint to it is that look at all the teams that are like neglected, not really taken care of, not really having an owner that is like the Rockies owner who like doesn't say these things, and honestly, behind closed doors he doesn't believe in them. Like the Reds owner, we know that behind closed doors or even out in the open, we just haven't heard anything. He's saying, "Yeah, my team's not going to do shit this year." We could be hearing like the Nationals owner could be saying the same thing. The Angels owner could be saying the same thing, and it's like that's so demoralizing to not only a team but to a fan base. That's why I
He
like
didn't
this. That's why I
he
like it.
didn't he didn't just come out and say it for like he didn't just come out of the blue and like
No, he didn't issue a press release that just said
that's
the
what I'm
Rockies can play
saying. Like
500 baseball. But I think that it's good to just be able to say that. That's what I'm trying to get at with that
I
with
don't
my
know.
statement.
Listen, I don't want to take this quote out of context. I don't know what the full. It was at an event that he said it. It literally could have just been someone being like, "You think the Rockies? You think your team's going to be good this year?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think we could win 500 games." And then someone's just like, "Oh yeah, we'll take that and we'll put it there." Like I don't think it was like him being like What?
Yeah, I think we could win 500 games.
Oh, I think we can go 500. Um, I don't think it was like this thing where he was like, Rockies fans, we're gonna win and we're gonna go at least 500 this year. Like, I don't think his intention was to get the
Oh no,
Rockies
not at
fan
all.
base. Like, if they like wherever the Rockies fans may be, I don't know if I've ever seen a real Rockies fan. Um,
The
but
only
like,
Rockies fan that I know was outraged at the quote.
but it's just like I don't think it was really a quote that he meant to like get people fired up and get out there. I think that's just like what he was just in a conversation or he was just at the stage and he just might have said something. Like I don't think it was like a we're going 500 this season, boys. You know?
Lock in.
Yeah, like
Rip
I
the
don't think it was one of those.
salts.
That's just if I had to guess. I don't want to take it out of context. Like I don't want to like just assume how he was saying it or anything.
Yeah,
We're
I
literally
got
just
you.
looking at the words on paper.
All
But
right.
yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's fair. I already shared all my thoughts. But good for the Rockies. Go knock 'em
We
dead,
have
boys.
go win 500 games next season, Rockies.
Might as
In
well.
other news, oh
Milo.
wait, that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's Milo.
MLB The Show 23.
MLB The Show 23.
Jazz Chisholm yesterday was announced that he was going to be the cover of MLB The Show 23. What do you think? A
Um,
lot of people think a lot of people think this is the wrong choice. A lot of people are trying to justify it. What do you think?
so as someone who does play the show quite often and is a very big fan of the show, I think that yes, although it's not the first choice for the fans, he's still a very marketable player. He's still a very good player when he's healthy. I don't. He's not played over 130 games in any season just yet, but he has the potential to be another superstar in this league that is just full of superstars. And he's in a very marketable area. He's just an absolute stud, and he has like that swagger that sort of goes with him. And what I personally think is that they're saving that big name, that Julio, that Vladdy, like they're saving that big name for next year, just because this is the last time that a game that the MLB The Show is going to be on previous gen consoles, and they're gonna put all their effort into the 2024 show, because this one everyone's saying is just going to be like a copy and paste, because they really just want to move on from the past gen consoles, which makes sense. And I think that Jazz is the perfect stopgap, for like the show covers. Because why would you burn a year that you could have like Vladdy, Julio, and I don't know, like Adley Rutschman, all three of them on the cover? That would be electric. But why would you want to burn it on a game that people are not going to find good?
I guess. I was more thinking that they had this locked in, like before the season even started last season, or maybe not before it started, but very early into the season before he got injured. And at that point, you can't really go back on it. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it wasn't really based on stats. It was based on this guy is electric. People love watching him. He's a personality. He's making the game fun.
That Euro
I
step is
think
great.
the Euro step is great. I think that is fully what this decision was based on.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree with that. I also think that they, like I mentioned before, didn't want to burn a big name onto a game that they don't think is their best, absolute best product. I think that they're saving that for next year.
I
That
agree.
that's where I
Well,
stand on it. But
yeah.
the cover looks amazing. The cover looks absolutely
The cover
fabulous.
looks amazing. I personally, I love it. I love Jazz. I think he's doing all the right things for the game of baseball because, um, at the end of the day, MLB The Show is to grow the game of baseball. I'm sure there's a lot of people who play MLB The Show and then think, hey, let me actually like start watching baseball.
Yeah, like,
So I
oh,
think like
I
you said,
used. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think like you said, the marketability is there. So
Yeah, and guys who play MLB The Show all the time, who don't watch baseball, they're like, "Oh, I use this card all the time. Let me go to their game," and it just grows the game, and it's great. Jazz only played 60 games last season. Was an All Star, batted 254. Just a good player. I genuinely think that he's just such a great player. In 60 games, 12 stolen bases is just
and
something.
and he's gonna be playing center field this year.
Yeah, which I'm so
And
looking forward to.
and I think that I think I want to see what he can do in a full season, and
My
especially with
favorite
as much motivation as he's got this season, I want to see it.
my favorite part is that it's very clear that Jazz knew from quite some time ago that he was going to be the cover athlete, which now kind of makes sense as to why he was saying, you know, move me to center field, I'll go out there and win the gold glove. Like it kind of now adds up because it just puts more eyes on him, more eyes on the game, more eyes on him. And I think that Jazz is that type of player that just thrives off of the spotlight. And he's trying to put himself into a spotlight. Obviously, being in Miami, being on the Marlins, you're not in that big city type of spotlight with like a contending team. But I promise you, when I heard him say that, I marked on my calendar when I wanted to watch the Marlins play, because you're going to tell me that Jazz wants to go out there and become a center fielder, be a Gold Glove center fielder. I'm in. I'll watch it. That would be amazing.
I agree. That would
Give
be amazing.
give me Jazz Chisholm robbing a home run on opening day and doing just like the
Everything.
swaggiest celebration to run in on like the first out too. Like I want the game to be stopped for no less than 5 minutes. Like
That's fair.
I want it to be electric.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's gonna
Um,
do great in center field, and I think it's the right choice for the show this season.
do we have anything else?
Uh
I don't really think we have much else. I think that's really all the news. Like we said, a little bit lighter on the news, but there were a couple heavy topics. So that'll do it for this episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. We need to start doing those kind of things in the middle of the episode. But yeah, if you're still listening, share and all that. We appreciate it. And yeah, go follow our socials, support us.
yeah.
And we love you. We'll see you guys next time. Do you want to go stand with JFK really quick, Lewis?
Here,
Go
let me.
stand with him. Bring him towards the center. Stand up, stand with him.
Oh wait, I'm hitting.
Oh, he's not going to be in chat. Just bend him down. Whoa, wait. All right. We'll catch you guys next time.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. Oh shit! Wait, I gotta hit the stop recording button.